so we did
electric.
the logo. We decided to do the logo.
I like it. That was
All right.
electric.
Cool. Brian, how are you today?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's been a while.
It has been a while. It's been 2 months now. It is November 7th. I think our last show was September 4th or something like that.
No, yes.
7th,
Yeah.
6, 5, 4, somewhere around there.
Yeah, no, I think the consequences of going to a once-a-month show, like, I think that works in terms of programming, but then when the family gets sick and you have to push it out, then it's like, oh,
Yeah,
did they die?
kinda-
What happened to them?
But luckily, our guest for our October show was gracious enough to follow us to November.
That's true.
So we will be talking to her shortly here.
I'm Matt. He's
I'm Brian.
This is EGW Backstage.
That's right. It's a
This thing
guided
is seized up, and I have no idea why.
a guided look at the ways and means,
Life experiences and ways and means of the guitarist journey.
What he just said.
That's what I just said.
So you got it right.
I did.
You were all worried
For
about
once.
it. It's been 2 months, man.
I want to figure out why our auxiliary screen doesn't work anymore.
It is pretty though.
It's
Look at those
pretty. It
guitars.
sits there and like doesn't do anything.
Look at those guitars.
It's true. I think we're gonna
Look
have
at
to
this
ditch
guitar. Whoa.
All right, Brian. What are we going to talk about before we bring our guest out?
Well, it's been 2 months, so talk about what we've been up to. One of the things I'm sure that our viewers will be curious of is what's on your bench, and we'll get to that in a moment. But, myself, I know I've been, we have been working hard with Gunslinger on writing, and we had a show in Seattle at the Jules May Saloon. The same stage as Jimi Hendrix played in 1960.
That was wild playing that show.
That was a very fun show. Very small crowd, but it was very fun. We had a good time. And hopefully the crowd did too. But, and this thing is, there
Sorry,
it
I'm
goes.
trying to fix this. Yeah, if anyone's wondering why I look distracted, it's because I am.
Technical difficulties have
There we go. I think we're back. All right.
That was, I'd been there a few times. It's a really cool place. If you ever go to Georgetown, South Seattle, the industrial district, it's right around the old brew houses and stuff. The Jules May Saloon, it was the first saloon in Seattle, actually. And that stage, Jimi Hendrix performed on it when he was 18 years old, and so did we. That was awesome.
That was surreal for me because so I grew up in this area, and I tried to spend every one of my weekends, like if I wasn't, I grew up in Renton, and which is actually where Jimi Hendrix grew up, but I tried to spend all my spare time in Seattle, and yet I never went into that particular district. So when we said we were playing in Georgetown, I was like, okay. And we pulled off into this area, and it was fantastic. There was this
really cool
flea market that was actually behind the bars, and all of the stores were in old RVs. Like, not like in a trashy way, but like they had taken these, like, picture the long trailer, the Lucille Ball Des Arenas show. Like, those old classic trailers are all tricked out and, like, set up with like, stores inside of them. So we checked that out, and we went and had some really great food, and we played that show. Walked into the room where the stage was, and there's this picture of Jimi Hendrix playing in one of his first groups on that stage, and the goosebumps were out of control.
Yeah,
it was wild.
It was fantastic. Yeah. I also went and saw Bad Religion. I'm an old punk rock fan myself, so Bad Religion was killer as usual in Tacoma. So I think it's not the Temple. Was it the Temple Theater?
I didn't go.
I think it was the Temple Theater in Tacoma.
Yeah.
So, it was really cool. I was super excited. Got to spend time with some close friends of mine at that show, and some newer friends from my my day job. Also, met up with them up there as well.
What's a day job like?
Oh, it's a day job, man. I mean,
I know what it's like.
You know what it's like. You've been there.
Yeah, I still am. Just a different job.
Yeah, but you're kind of 24/7. It's not like an 8 to 5.
The idea that I laugh at these people that say that they want to start their own business because they want to make their own hours. No, I'm sorry, you're always on call.
Yep, your hours are forever.
You don't stop working.
So, what have you been up to in this last 2 months?
Show them that. So this is the most recent Rye 99 to come off the assembly line. This was a really cool. It's based on the Rye 99 that you've all seen. This was sort of a prototype build, though, because the customer had a different spec, and he wanted it to be set up with some traditional Strat elements. And so We had to work to complement one design against the other because I hadn't designed a pick guard for this. So I went to town and started designing and came up with this. I dig it because I feel like it looks like a Swiss Army knife. We modified a few things to get the controls away from. One of the things I don't like about Strats is that when you're playing on them, if you're not, like, you can roll the volumes while you're playing. So I moved these away just a little bit, and we threw the 5-way up here.
This is an interesting little humbucker too.
That's a Jeff Beck.
It's a
little mini Jeff Beck.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. I'm not as familiar with that particular pickup myself, but I'm also not like super versed in all the gear as much as I'd like to be. But because of you, thank you, I'm becoming more and more so.
So this one should be shipping off to San Diego here really shortly.
Nice. It's a very nice guitar. Plays nice.
Right on.
I was fiddling on it just a minute ago before we started.
We have a Wood Spirit guitar right behind. We have two Wood Spirit guitars. We've got the prototype from John Beeson right there, and we have Greenie right here. And Greenie is getting donated to a school of music, which is really cool.
That one, I played that one on stage.
That one for a while.
That was pretty cool. It's a nice one.
Other than that, I don't know. We're going to talk about every repair on the bench, but I think that one of the more meaningful repairs that came to the bench was dropped off. I'll have some more pictures of it. It's going to be done in a couple weeks. I'm going to San Francisco here for a few days, and when I come back, I'm going to finish it. But I got a call from a gentleman who had reached out to a luthier in the Tri-Cities of Washington State and said, hey, I've got this bass. It needs to be finished. And he told the guy to reach out to me because I was closer in physical proximity. Brings the bass over, and turns out this is a bass that's sort of been in production for about 15 years. He started it with his friend who's a luthier, and his friend moved to, I believe, Turkey, and then came back and continued the build and passed away. Yeah. And so we needed to find somebody to finish it, and that's kind of, there's a lot of pressure there.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like there's a little bit, that's for sure.
But
but it's nice though. I mean, this guy reached out to a well-known luthier in the Tri-Cities, who then referred them to you. So, I mean, that's kind of...
There was a referral, and there was, that there was an endorsement of trust there.
Yeah.
And so I've been working on that, and that's super cool. And then the Tortuga deal. So
that
we've now
definitely
we're now producing effects pedals. There's not a lot to talk about quite yet. Basically, that's going to be a big 2024 project. So what I did once I got a hold of all the social media accounts and whatnot is I wanted to announce to people that had been still following the brand that, hey, it's been quiet for a while because it's been quiet for about 5 years, and we're back. We haven't gone anywhere. New ownership. Nothing's changing, but we have to put our processes in place.
Right. It's going to be kind of a little by little.
So my hope is that mid 2024 we start putting pedals out again.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I do want to say hello to Jay Santiago. It says, I'm near Seattle also. My younger brother was 101st Airborne, just like Hendrix was. Thank you for your service.
So I want to jump right over.
Yeah, let's get started.
To our guest. We have someone very special on the line. We have a singer-songwriter out of Florida. So
Orlando,
Florida, which is, again, why I want to be really respectful of time, because it's not early over there right now.
They are 3 hours ahead of us.
They are 3 hours ahead of us. And I know that I'm old, and that would be my bedtime unless I'm playing a show.
Right.
But I want to introduce Francesca Tarantino.
Francesca, welcome to the show.
Hello, guys. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
On.
Thank you so
great
much.
to see you.
And again, thank you so much for allowing us to push out from October to November, because
no worries.
The first thing we noticed when you signed on to connect is that your background looks a lot like our background, and now I kind of feel like we need to reorder some of our interview questions, because I really want to talk about.
Go into it.
I want to talk about gear.
Let's do it.
What's behind you, and what are you playing these days?
Well, I have two very different categories of what I play.
Okay.
It's what I play at home and what I play at gigs. Because obviously when I go out to gig, I'm not going to bring other side, a Gibson Les Paul with me, because one time I had a gig and I had my guitar on and my guitar strap just fell off.
Oh, I've been there.
Don't want that happening with those two.
No.
But when I'm home, these are my favorite guitars to play. kind of bougie, but I do really love them. I love the way they play.
Yeah.
And then this one right here, I don't play Strats very
Mm-hmm.
often, but still fun. That one is also a new addition. My dad collects guitars, so that's why
Very cool.
Awesome.
he's gonna be more than this. And then that's a new one. I haven't even touched that one yet, so that one I'll be excited to play. But definitely my favorite guitars to play are Gibson Les Pauls. And then when I play out, I have a Sterling Music Man, I'm pretty sure, and it's this really pretty pink guitar. It's a
Yeah.
Stratocaster. It's probably the only Strat I really played, to be honest. I don't really play a lot of Strats, but I love playing it out. It's so easy on my fingers,
Mm-hmm.
but I just can't play those out yet.
Just need a really good pair of strap locks.
Yeah. I got a funny story about that. When I was in high school playing a Battle of the Bands, I was playing a guitar that I borrowed from my brother, and it was a Gibson Les Paul,
Uh-huh.
80s Gibson Les Paul, and the strap broke and cracked the headstock. I played the show with the cracked headstock, and it was
yeah.
it was good. I had to put it back together though. I had to glue it up and give it back and be like,
Did you do
"Sorry,
the
dude."
repair?
Yeah.
Did you do the repair?
Yeah, and then he sold it. He made money on it.
Man, I felt really. The first time I had to repair a broken Les Paul headstock, I felt really proud of myself. And would you use Elmer's glue or what'd you do?
No, I wood glue, wood glue and a clamp.
Wood glue and a sheet metal screw.
No screws. No screws.
So
God.
what? So what got you into playing? Like, how did you start playing music?
Well, like I said, my dad collects guitars. He's been collecting for a while, and when I was really little, I grew up listening to like classic rock music, like Kiss, Aerosmith, Deep Purple, Leonard Skinner, bands like that. Led Zeppelin, and that's what my parents would listen to. That's what I listened to, and I just really fell in love with like the guitar and stuff in those songs. Just something really stuck out to me,
Yep.
and so one day my dad got me my own guitar. It was like some Epiphone something, and I just like ran my fingers across the string, and I was like, whoa, this is so cool. I was very little and I just fell in love with it. And ever since then, he would teach me like really simple riffs like Crazy on You, like by heart, and other really simple things that, were easy for a toddler to play.
Yeah.
And I would just like noodle with that. And then about maybe 3 years ago, I started taking rhythm guitar lessons. So like chords, the basic stuff. And then that was always fun, but not as fun as lead, which I started learning a year and a half ago, which is definitely a lot more fun. I recently posted something a year ago recently I started playing gigs.
Mm-hmm.
And at my very first gig, I played Hotel California, but it's very different from how I do it now because it's so crazy how this happened in a year. But now when I go out and play, I use my electric guitar and I play the solo and I loop the backing chords, and then I play the whole solo, and it's so much fun, and it's crazy how much it's changed from a year ago.
Yeah, I actually saw that video you have it on your Instagram of the then and now, and it's impressive for sure.
Thank you. Very fun.
I think that's probably a really cool tool to have now that we might not necessarily have had. I mean, we could sit down with a tape deck and record ourselves, but
Right.
like the social media machine now, if you make a recording, like it's going to remind you a year later, like, oh, you did this a year ago. Oh, you did this 4 years ago. Oh, you did this. I started playing when I think I was in 7th or 8th grade. You're 15 and you started when you plinking around when you were a toddler, and you've got recordings from 4 years ago. I mean, that's absolutely, it's got to be rad to look back and see that progress, and to have it be like organically part of your journey. You don't actually, like, everything's reminding you of where you were, and I imagine that pushes you forward to a degree. Like,
I can't hear you guys.
You can't.
Uh-oh.
Can you hear us now?
Oh no.
Uh-oh. We might have to reset.
They're glitching.
We might have to reset the Zoom
I still can't
call.
hear you.
Can't hear us? Hang on.
Oh, no.
Oh,
You're back.
we're back. Zoom.
We will. Can you hear us now?
Yes.
All right.
Okay. So
Well, what I was saying, who knows where, who knows, who sweat. That's where we wear the hats. No, I was gonna say that having that constant reminder of where you were and where you're going, like I imagine that's inspiring and pushes you forward.
yeah, it's crazy to look back and see things like that.
I do want to say too, in trying to get to know you a little bit through your Instagram profile for the interview, and we were going to talk about this later on too,
Right.
watching some of the videos that you have where you're singing in the tunnels. Like that's got to be really cool. Like I myself being a heavy metal fan, I love the Fear of the Dark cover from Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
I love Iron Maiden. But I mean, you're doing this interesting stuff like the tunnel videos to showcase your talent and your vocal ability. What is that like when you're there live singing in that tunnel?
God, it's really fun.
Yeah.
I don't even know how the tunnel videos came about, to be honest. I was just on a bike ride one day and found this tunnel in my neighborhood or a neighborhood next to my neighborhood, and I just started singing in it and I realized how cool it sounded. And then I started singing like these classic rock songs and then other songs like Iron Maiden and things like that. And just singing the tunnel is so cool because it's like I don't know. It's just a very cool feeling trying to I don't even know what the word is. Just trying to get out there like cool classic rock songs with like cool effect and like a tunnel. Like I think that's
Yeah.
kind of cool.
Do people walk by? Like, do you have
Oh,
fans at the tunnel? Do they like watch and
yeah.
everything? Yeah.
It's not really always the same people, but people walk by with like their dogs. One person today, she was walking by and she was like, "Oh, are we interrupting the photos?" And we were like, "Oh, no, we're just singing, but everything is fine." And then I start singing and she comes running back and is like, "That was amazing!"
That's
And it's
awesome.
always so much
That's
fun seeing
fantastic.
people.
That's wonderful. I mean, it's
No,
definitely a great
I'll
way
just
to
straight
showcase.
out say it. Like I don't know that I would actually have that kind of courage. Like to me, like it's weird. I think how everyone has different boundaries in terms of what gives them stage fright and what doesn't give them stage fright. I have played shows of all different sizes, and I'm telling you, so far, I mean, so far in my life, if you put a guitar in front of me, that is what gives me comfort. And I've never played a stadium, but I would be very surprised if I became nervous in a stadium because that is where I am most at peace. But if you put me in the middle of a tunnel and told me to sing something, I'd probably like cripple and cry.
It is pretty scary, especially when
Yeah.
like people walk around and they're just all grumpy. Because like
How can you be
I try
grumpy?
to say like, "Oh hi," but they're just like
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just trying to lighten the mood. But I do sometimes still get scared. But I mean, music is comfort, so
Yeah.
not as much
No.
anymore.
Props. That's good.
Definitely.
So what's your well, you teed up. You wanted to kind of talk about the song.
Well,
Creative. Yeah.
yeah. So your latest song is a song called Tragedy,
Yeah.
and so I was curious. That's kind of a hefty subject for a young person to bring up, and I'm curious. What is that song about? What's the experience that I'm sure that you've asked this all the time, right? But what is that experience that you're drawing from there? And what also is the message you're trying to portray in that beyond just like I'm sad?
Yeah. So a few years ago, excuse me, I was going through this time of losing my dog, and I was really close to my dog. And some people might think it sounds a little stupid, but I was really sad. I mean, I lost somebody I really loved. And as I was going through, like all the emotions, like I say in the song, I just started writing down all these lyrics about how I felt. And as I was writing, I was realizing, so many other people have gone through the same exact
Mm-hmm.
situation. Maybe not, with your dog, but just with someone, or you lose someone you love and you're mad and you're sad and you can't believe they're gone and you want to scream and all those other things. And so I was just coming up with all these lyrics and I had like melody lines in my head. And then I went to my producer, Mike Walker at Dream Walker Music Evolution here in Orlando. He's my producer. I take lessons from him. He is truly magic. I go to him, I basically explained what happened, and I tell him I was sad, and here, I wrote this, and I start singing him the stuff, and he works his magic, and he just starts playing some cool, sad chords, and then we had this really cool, sad song. And I just really wanted to point out all the different things that people go through when, you lose somebody, because obviously it's something like everybody deals with. You're gonna lose someone or something in life and be really sad about it. And like anger, grief, wanting to scream, and it's all okay. And I just wanted to put that all into music so that other people can listen to it and be like, I really relate. I want people to feel the song like I felt the song when I was writing it.
No, it's fantastic for sure. It's definitely very mature tune. And then you also have another tune that you've put out recently, a little bit earlier, My Runaway. Talk about that song.
That one was a little different in the writing process, actually. Really random, but a lot of people ask me, so when you're writing a song, do the lyrics come first or does the music come first? And I know a lot of people have a strict answer for that, but for me, it's just whatever pops in my mind. Like for Tragedy, obviously it was the lyrics, but for My Runaway, so basically I went into lessons one day with my producer Mike, and he just said, "Okay, we're writing a song." I was like, okay. And so he works his magic again, and he just starts playing these really cool like rock chords, and I really liked it. And he's like, okay, sing something. And so I'm just humming, and we come up with these really cool melodies. And we were stuck on the hook, I gotta run away. And so obviously I didn't have to use that, but he was just giving me an example of what I could say. And for some reason, I really liked I gotta run away. So I just kept with that. And so I was like, I gotta run away. What can I write about running away? And so I came up with this story or just idea of being somewhere you shouldn't be, and you're trying to escape, but you're worried about what others are going to think of you. And I know like a lot of people struggle with that. So I was like, oh, perfect. And I didn't really know where to go. So that's when I asked my brother for help, Dominic Tarantino. And right when he came in my room after I asked him for help, we were just like spitting out all these lyrics, and it was so cool. And sometimes the lyrics were horrible, and then sometimes they were so good. And then eventually we had My Runaway, and I really wanted it to be, like a rock song. Yeah. So went back to my producer, told him all the lyrics I wrote, and we came up with My Runaway, and I'm really proud of it. I think it's a really cool song.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, when I heard it, I thought it's actually, I hope this isn't, I hope this is a good thing, but it gave me like Amy Lee vibes. Like it sounded very like Evanescence kind of stuff. So, okay, no, I was just like, that's not coming out of a 15-year-old, and it is.
Yeah.
So good work. It's good stuff. Much. It's really good stuff.
Compliment for me.
We will put links to this.
Yeah,
because we don't typically restream music in YouTube because YouTube isn't always really good at.
It's not always very nice.
Like you can end up flagging something, like you're talking with the artist and it like flags it for a copyright, and it's like, okay, well, we'll just link off to it, or you can play live. But so yeah, if you haven't checked that out, we'll include a link so that you can go listen to that.
Yeah, and also the Instagram, right? Follow the Instagram.
Yeah, follow the gram. So I want to go back to writing a song about a dog. And because I think that's awesome. And I also want to be able to say that I don't think I've ever had a relationship with a pet that I would be able to write such a strong song about. But when I met my wife, so I came from a family where dogs were very much like, I don't want to say possessions, but dogs weren't like family members. It was like, that's how I came up with animals. But when I came into a family that was like, no, that's part of the family. And I could see that there was a big difference. And we took our dog with us on a family vacation when he was kind of on his last hurrah. And it was a really powerful experience, and it kind of changed me. Like I'm not going to claim that I'm let's go get another one right now. But you know, it's just like life kind of changed a bit, and I could see through the eyes of, you know, grief and all that, how like it doesn't matter if it's a person or a dog. Like,
Yeah.
one of my favorite songs is one written, I don't know if you're an Alter Bridge fan, but Miles Kennedy wrote a song that is extremely powerful on one of the last Alter Bridge albums. And when asked what it's about, it's actually about like his dog was home and like during a storm, like he and his wife were out and they hadn't gotten back to the house yet, and the dog was panicking in the house, and they could see it on their like little Ring cam. And he wrote this whole song about, man, this must suck. You're like, your dog's home alone in a storm panicking. And he wrote this just epic like power ballad.
Yeah.
So like,
it's pretty amazing.
It's amazing.
You can take
like how you can take that.
And take something like that and write such a deep song.
It sounds like you're doing the same thing. So it's pretty cool.
I'll be honest, man. Like I've had a lot of family members pass away. A lot of, my family is rather large, especially on one side. And so, you know, you deal with a lot of old folks that pass away.
Yeah.
Family friends, you know, high school friends of mine even passed away. And I'll be perfectly honest. Perfectly 100% crystal clear honest. The first time I think I cried at somebody's death was my dog, Susie Q, when I had to put her down. So, like, I totally understand having that love and feeling for a pet. They are definitely a part of the family.
Yeah, I just remember begging my parents for a dog, and the dog's name was actually Frankie. And so my dad's name is Frank, my grandfather's name is Franklin, and my name is Francesca. So it was like continuing on like the Fran, I guess.
All right.
So right when we met the dog, I guess, we were like, oh, we just have to get him. And I'm so excited, and, you know.
Yeah. Well, shoot, let's lighten it up. Let's lighten it up. Go with something a little lighter.
Well, you know, we're talking about family. You mentioned that your brother was a collaborator on My Runaway. You're writing some more material. You want to put out a record. You know, family is obviously important to you, but so is collaboration. Can you tell us both a little bit about how that all works together, family and the collaboration, and how that's going to turn into your full-length album?
Yeah. Well, my family is a huge help, I must say. Like, they're right behind me every step of the way. I mean, I wouldn't have started guitar if it weren't for my dad. So big inspiration there. But my brother, we don't do too much writing anymore because he's a dancer and he's a really good one. He's busy with his own thing. But like when we have the time, we write together, and it's always fun because we're just like spitting out stuff at each other, and sometimes we, you know, get like that sibling anger. But for the most part, it's fun. And then my mom is like my momager in the whole thing.
Momager, I like it. I like it.
She helps me with bookings, also with songs I want to learn, because I get a big chunk of my music taste from my parents, obviously. So she helps me with that.
We saw a video on Instagram of like your mom was throwing solo cups at you or something. Is that a momager?
Yes. Yeah. She helps with content sometimes like that and films things for me, and, you know, threw solo cups at my face. Yeah. But
whatever it takes.
Yeah, why not? And then my dad, he's kind of my roadie and my sound guy, and also my jam partner. Like when we're at home, we just jam together. Like when I learn something new on guitar, I'll tell him, and then if he learns something new on guitar, he'll tell me. So it's just like this never-ending circle, and that's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
And then when we go out to gig, he buys all the gear. Obviously, he buys all the gear and stuff like that. Tells me what I need to do. Helps me set up at gigs. And then if I'm on stage and I'm like, hey, I need some more monitor or something like that, I wave him down.
Cool.
But they're definitely a huge help, and I would not be where I am today without them. And they're so supportive, and they're just sitting here smiling right now.
Well, no one got to see this, but before the show, I mean, you were there. You got to see it. Brian got to see it, but I got to chat with your dad a little bit before we went live, and yeah, he seems like a great help, and took a very, you know, keen interest in even just this business over here in Washington State, and I think that's awesome that
Yeah.
you've got that kind of support group over there.
Yeah, support is very important. I mean, in anything that you want to do, but when you have a dream that you're chasing down at any age, I mean, having any support, having that much support is super important for sure.
Yeah.
I would say I'm very lucky.
Yeah. So you are working on completing a full-length record at this point, right? You're writing new songs, and or are you just focusing on gigging?
Kind of hand in hand in both.
Okay.
I am continuously gigging. I actually have a gig tomorrow and the day after.
Right on.
But definitely gigging around anywhere I can. And then also next to that, I'm writing as much as I possibly can, anything that pops in my head. I do have a new release very soon, hopefully by the end of the year. It's called The Truth Cannot Hide, and that's co-written with my producer, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
And the lyrics, his wife helped me out, Miss Caroline Walker. So that's really exciting. And then at some point, maybe in the next year, something like that, I definitely do want to release an album. I think that would be a really fun project to work on, or even just like an EP or something. So definitely just writing as much as I can to some point get to that step.
Cool. Right on. Look forward to seeing that for sure.
Thank you.
So a question that we can ask you that we don't actually get to ask that many people that we interview. How do you fit this all in with school and other activities and social life, and how do you make it happen?
Well, it is. It's hard sometimes, I must say.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely hard to manage. I mean, but what a huge help is I go to school for half a time.
Okay.
So basically, I leave tomorrow. I get to leave school at 10:50. I'm pretty sure. And then other days I'll leave at like 1:15. So right when I get home, I'm just right to doing this type of stuff, playing guitar, learning songs. So that's definitely a huge help. And then my social life, I put time aside for my friends and my family and hanging out with them, because that's obviously a very important part. But sometimes people don't understand how busy I am, and I've actually lost friends, or just people would just be rude about it because they don't understand, because, you know, they think I have all the time in the world, and obviously I don't, because I'm actually trying to chase a dream over here.
Right.
But I definitely try my hardest to balance everything out, and it's definitely been a journey, and I still do have to work on my time management, I must say. But
I mean,
I'm trying my best.
that's going to be a lifelong thing.
Yeah,
So,
that
you know,
won't change.
I think you're getting a hell of a head start on it, you know, because like I
Yeah.
didn't know what time management was until I was in my 20s. So, you know, very cool. You've got an edge on all of us.
I'm still working on it.
Yeah. I didn't say I had it down. I just said
that's
that was
true.
like when I started thinking about it.
So what would you describe your music, the music that you write? Like, what would you fit it into a genre, and what would you kind of call that, what you typically create?
I guess rock, just any type of rock. I would say my runaway is more on like the pop rock side, I think, and I think that's the most of the stuff I'm writing. My really big influences are like Paramore, Kelly Clarkson. I do say a lot. I kind of want to be like Ann Wilson and Nancy Wilson together, like with the guitar skills and then the vocal skills together, and like that type of music.
Yeah.
But I would say just rock. I don't know if some people consider it as like alternative, indie, other things like that. But I would say I'm mostly pop rock, and that's the stuff I want to continue writing. Yeah,
Very cool.
rock is where my heart is.
Yeah.
Right on.
So let's talk about A Break 58 and your number one spot. I want to give you a chance to brag.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, do you want me to?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
what exactly is it? How did you get onto that countdown list? Is kind of what it is, right? It's like a top 58. Like, how'd you get onto there, and you got to number one?
Yeah. A Break Music is this indie internet radio station.
Okay.
And they give artists like me, indie artists, a break, they say. And it's this huge playlist with a bunch of independent artists. And so one day I came across them and I submitted my Runaway, which was the only one I had released at the
Mm-hmm.
time. So next thing I know, I look at the list and I'm on it. And it was really cool. And I was like, wow. And I listened to all the other songs, and there's some really, really cool stuff on there from other indie artists like me. And it's this really cool platform where other indie artists can get like a voice, and it's really cool. And that first time around, my Runaway, I'm pretty sure got up to third place, which is really cool. I
Mm-hmm.
was loud and I was so proud of myself. And so I was really grateful, obviously. And then Tragedy came along, and Tragedy goes on the list. And so it hits number 1. And I was just absolutely flabbergasted. I don't even know I was so surprised. And I was so happy. And I talked to the people over at a break, and they're just such great people. And they really just focus on giving, again, people like me a voice. And I just think it's so cool, just a really cool platform for other indie artists. And it's actually insane, and I'm so grateful about it.
Yeah, it
very
sounds
cool.
really cool.
That's very
It sounds like a good place to get connections, to be able to network with other artists and stuff too. You hear someone that you like that's also on the list, and maybe you can join forces and do a small tour or something together at some point.
Exactly.
You know,
So many other cool people on that, and so many friends I've made. It's
that's
so
awesome.
cool.
Just a couple more, and then we'll let you go because I know it's getting late over there. But
No worries.
I wanted to ask you, because not everyone gets the chance, but what is it like to do the national anthem? Because that's I think that's a pressure moment, right?
Oh, very. My dad always says the most important thing is honoring the song and honoring our country. So that's obviously
agree.
my main
Yeah.
priority. But when I started singing the national anthem, I started at my school, and I would sing for basketball and volleyball games, if I remember correctly. And I was scared because sometimes it would be like my classmates in the stands, and it was just always so terrifying. And then I started other places singing the national anthem. I sang for a race. I don't really remember, but I started singing for other things, and it's so cool just singing and honoring it. And then I submitted an email to the Marlins, Miami Marlins here in Florida, and told them I sing the national anthem and sent them my videos. And next thing I know, I'm in the Miami Marlins stadium singing the national anthem, which was so scary. But the
Dang.
first time I went, they had me show up like 4 hours before I sang, and just my fears were like building up just sitting back there. But it's so cool. And sometimes when I sing it, I normally get teary-eyed because it's such a cool thing to be doing and singing, and I feel so honored to do that. And then I sang it again for the Marlins, and I'm continuing other places, and it's really cool.
That's
That's
super cool.
fantastic.
Congratulations. That's a really cool accomplishment to put on the list
Yeah.
repeatedly.
Yeah,
It sounds
for sure.
like.
Well, I mean, you want to go through kind of some of the lightning round favorite questions?
Lightning round favorites. Let's do it. Start.
What's your favorite song to perform live?
Oh, this is so hard.
It's the
Probably
Jeopardy theme song.
Probably either Hotel California, because just seeing the look on people's faces when I start playing the solo is actually insane. Or Rock and Roll Night and Party Every Day by Kiss, because it's my tradition to end with that song. So
Heck
I
yeah.
play it every single time at my gigs.
That's fantastic.
Very good.
Um,
Do this one.
which one?
What is your most useless talent? Because we all have it, whether it's like putting a spoon on your nose or, I don't know. Do you have a useless talent? I think it's all I do. It's useless talent.
That is a random question.
Yeah. Lightning round.
God, I don't even know. I can't think of any.
That's all right.
Is that-
That's a good, safe answer.
Wait, I'm gonna have to think about that and get back to it, because it's just a random question. I would have never imagined someone asking me.
Look what we did.
I know.
We broke the internet.
That's awesome. Let's do that some more.
Okay.
What's your favorite venue that you've performed at?
Oh, there's a place called Bloodhound Brewery that I play at, and it's like this bar slash restaurant,
Hmm.
and all the people there are just so cool. It's like the perfect audience for me because it's like millennials and boomers, and then like people at the bar getting drunk, and it's just this big like party, and it's always so much. And everyone just, there's always someone there who knows a song I'm playing. I try to play absolutely everything. Like, even though I don't like country, I play like Wagon Wheel by Darius Rucker.
Right.
Um, and I just try to, have something for everyone. And sometimes at some place and it doesn't always work. But Bloodhound is just a place where everyone likes everything. And I love playing there. Everyone is always so nice.
Nice.
That's
It's so much
fantastic.
fun. Yeah.
So if you're playing, when you're playing a brewery or something like that, what are the laws like in Florida? Like when I was playing underage in Washington State, what I had to do is I had to stay back by the band, and there was like a table in the corner of the bar, and they'd be like, "We'll bring you Coca-Cola and peanuts, and you don't move."
Yeah.
What's the experience like for you?
It's there's really no issue, to be honest. Going into it, I thought there would be, but obviously, I just can't go have a drink at the bar,
Right.
I'm just there playing, but there's really no issue, to be honest, which I was surprised
And
with.
I
But no
I
issue.
should have gigged more in Florida.
You should try Montana.
Yeah, right.
When I was a kid, we did a trip to Montana, through Montana. Kids are allowed in the bar.
Yeah.
You just, I mean, obviously they don't serve you.
Well, somebody's got to drive their parents home.
Right? Exactly.
My mom and dad are like my bodyguards, so
Yeah.
they're always there around there, and everyone understands.
Very
I'm
cool.
underage and shouldn't be doing anything.
So, what is the best advice? We'll do two more questions, and then we'll let you go. What is the best advice you've been given?
I've been given. I mean, I guess this is probably a repeated one. You guys and other people probably hear a lot, but just not care what other people think of you. When I was younger, I definitely struggled with that, and I'm sure everybody has. And it sounds really challenging because, I mean, you're always going to be inside caring, like, oh, I wonder what they're thinking of me right now.
Yeah.
But as I started gigging, obviously, I started caring less because it doesn't really matter to me anymore because I'm having fun and other people are having fun. So why should I worry about the person in the back of the bar with the grumpy face,
Yeah.
Right.
Like it just doesn't really matter. And I wish I listened to that when I was a little younger so I wouldn't have all those fears. But I've grown, so but other people I think should definitely learn from that and, just not care as much.
I think like one of the I agree with that, and I've heard sort of little twists to that, and a couple of my favorites are sort of explaining the idea of why you shouldn't care, because you're right, we do care. You're human, you have a heart. Somebody says something to you or acts a certain way or looks at you, you're going to feel it. But one of the things that you have to have there in your consciousness is the recognition that people are way more interested in their own self than they are in other people. And so if you do something that resonates with somebody and they love it, they're going to take that and they're going to evangelize for you, and they're going to tell the world about how good you are. But if you do something that, for the most part, right, there's always exceptions, but if you do something that somebody doesn't like, they're going to forget about it in like 2 days.
Yeah.
And they're going to move on, and it's just not even on their radar. And so you have to do, like, you're the one who has to wake up and look at yourself in the mirror every morning.
Right. Well, and
So, yeah.
ultimately, you can only control what you can control, right? You can't control somebody else, how they feel or what they're going to do. So you got to deal with number one, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Last thing, unless you have more, but what is one message that you would give to your fans?
My fans. Thank you. First of all, I mean, like, just the endless support I've been getting is actually insane. Just being this 15-year-old, writing music, it's pretty crazy to all the people who are just supporting me and, just it's making me really happy seeing that I'm making other people happy. So obviously, thank you. That's really all I have to say. Like, their support just means so much to me, like more than they will ever know. And I wouldn't be probably where I am without them either. And you guys as well. Thank you guys for everything.
Oh, you're more than welcome. We're all on our own journeys, and all we can do is push each other forward. So
thank you for
joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a great.
We look forward to seeing you out here on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
At some point in time, look us up. We'll be keeping in contact, I'm sure. We'll definitely be following you.
Yeah, there's some great places in Seattle and Tacoma and Olympia. There's a really great all ages place, Rhythms Coffee. They do like so many gigs. They do a show every night. It's a cool coffee shop that everyone can go to, and it's so if you ever need anyone to grease the wheels out here in the Pacific Northwest, just let us know.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah. Enjoy.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Very cool.
Very, very cool. Very talented young lady.
Have to stretch.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of energy to stay here in this little box.
It kind of does, and it's been 2 months. We're kind of a little out of practice and out of shape for it, aren't we?
Well, no one got to see the giant panic that we had before we sent her the logon email, because we're always changing tech around here, and we moved something, and then it all fell apart in the end.
But when we change tech, we're doing it for the betterment of the show.
We're doing it for the betterment of the show,
and hopefully you guys see the difference or don't see the difference. Right?
Always test. That's it had nothing to do with her interview, but like that's the other. If you're not testing something, you're never gonna know.
Yeah.
Always be testing.
And it was wonderful to have Francesca on.
Yeah.
She's it's really good to see someone so young making such good music and doing her thing, whether it's writing or performing others' covers. She's out there having fun. She's living her dream, and she's making things happen, and she's got a lot of support in that too, and that's very important. So
it's
lots of lessons to take from that.
It's really easy to see when you speak with someone of her age why she is as successful as she is, and more than like we've never. She's way more mature and dedicated. Like she's got insight that I mean I was
nowhere near that when I was 15. That's for sure.
No, I didn't have that level of self-awareness until
any of that
after my first marriage.
Right.
That's remarkable. So all the best to her. She's killing it.
And obviously your parents, they're doing the right things too. So it's fantastic. So
very cool.
What is coming up for us?
What's coming up for us? I thought we were going to end the show and go talk about that.
We do need to talk about that. I think
the show is going to take a more, I don't know. We started this to have fun, and we still want to have fun, but it made sense to kind of decide if what we were doing still worked going forward. And I guess we're going to find out if we agree. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to commit to having at least probably 3/4 of the shows be interviews rather than just BS sessions.
Well, if we can make that happen, for sure.
Well,
I do see something else that might be happening for you soon. Jay Santiago is asking you about your Hagstrom.
Jay Santiago, I saw that Hagstrom Phantom. Yeah, I still have it.
He's been playing it at gunslinger practices actually lately. And
I still have it. I'd let it go. I mean, I'd rather sell one of my guitars, but no, I'll get rid of the Hagstrom. The Hagstrom is sort of a funny story. I bought that a year and a half ago.
Right when you were starting to get into Ghost, right?
Well, no. What happened is I wrecked my motorcycle, and I got out of motorcycling. And I consequently got back into it.
Within a week.
But after, I decided that if I was going to get out of riding, I was going to reward myself. And I wasn't building guitars yet, so I walked my happy ass down to Capital City Guitars, and I found that, and I bought it. And then I never really played it. And so I put it up for sale and hung it back there because it looked good.
It is a good looking
And then I was like,
sure.
This is ridiculous. I've never even played this thing. So I took it to band practice and I played it a couple times. And my It is gorgeous. It is gorgeous. It's it needs to be set up, but I think I know a guy who can do that.
I might know a guy too.
It's
I'm
one of
not
those
sure.
guitars that I think it just kind of came from the factory.
Check
and
my
like,
Rolodex.
I think it came from the factory and then got purchased before anyone really looked at it. But it's all good. Yeah, I'd say if you want to buy it, I will sell it. I won't even think about it. You know, actually, just make a reasonable offer. It's yours.
Contact is all on the website.
It's all on the
right?
website.
So.
Yeah. It's a fun guitar. It makes me want to play rhythm. Yeah, it's weird to rip a solo on that thing because it just feels so huge, you know.
No.
I feel like solos come out of sports cars, and that feels like you're cruising a Cadillac.
Well, maybe that's why I play an Explorer.
Yeah.
Because I'm more of a rhythm guitarist. Yeah. I see myself as a rhythm guitarist anyway.
No, quite honestly, I said to Brian when I picked that thing up, when I played it at practice a couple weeks ago, I said, if this hadn't already been designed, this is probably the guitar I would have liked to design. It's a really cool shape.
Yeah, it's very cool.
The blue semi-hollow with the Bigsby,
yeah,
after my heart.
The Crawford,
the Aaron Crawford. Thanks, man.
Yeah, that one is fantastic.
I wish I would have made two.
I feel incredibly lucky to be able to play most of these guitars that Matt builds because I do come over here and hang out and, you know, we do the show. So I get to fiddle around on them and they play fantastic.
They all right. This one's not in tune.
That's probably my fault because I was fiddling with it earlier. They are very nice guitars, though. They play very nice. They get good fast action, locking tuners. Like you do everything top notch. So
thanks. I'm gonna miss this one, but I'm excited to make another one.
Yeah. Well, it's nice that that it was made for a friend.
Yeah.
So you know where it's gonna go. So you can always. If you feel the urge to play this specific one before you build the next one,
this guitar
you could always go down to San Diego.
This guitar is the one that inspired me to start designing correctly, like because I hadn't learned how to do Adobe Illustrator. And like when I designed this, I sketched it out. Like I took the template and I laid it out, and I just started drawing.
Right.
But then when you want to import that thing into a CAD program, like.
Yeah,
I should probably just learn the technology and do it that way.
Hey,
so
that's one more thing you got to do.
Very cool.
You're a busy man, Matt.
I am, but I think we're gonna take the rest of the year. No one's really gonna miss us anyway. No, that's not true. You're gonna crave us by the time January rolls around.
At least 2 or 3 folks that watch us on the usual.
But we're gonna come back in January. We're gonna make sure that we have a loaded schedule with live performances and interviews.
Yeah.
And people that you want to hear. So we're going to say this again. If there's anything you want us to cover, great, let us know. But if you're a band, if you're a solo artist, if you know a solo artist, if you want to get a little bit of YouTube exposure and just want to play out and talk and have an audience, hit us up.
Or you just want to talk. You don't have to play.
Tell us about your problems.
Not that kind of talk.
No one wants that.
We are not therapists by any means.
We play one on TV, though.
Yeah. Well,
the two of us together play one therapist on TV.
Yeah, it's a really weird-looking 2-headed therapist, but one short-shouldered.
Sure. All right. So we're going to pop this up on the website. And thanks for hanging with us.
Sounds good. And as always, fret less.
Rock more.